Oxtail was once considered as a poor man's food, but that's no longer the case. It's a very popular dish in Jamaica, but is really enjoyed by so many people all around the world. Oxtail is basically the tail of an ox. However, the tail of a beef is also considered one. So I got this oxtail from my butcher. I took out all the skin because for this recipe, if you want it to cook fast, we do not need the skin. I washed it thoroughly with some lemon infused water. That is the skin that I took out. And in Ghana, this is also a delicacy, so I am not going to throw it out at all. Watch out how I use this to make an amazing stew. I will marinate my oxtail with some bell pepper, onions, scotch bonnet pepper that I chopped, and then I also grated some garlic and ginger to this. The inspiration for this dish was just random. I chanced on an article online that was talking about how oxtail used to be a poor man's food but is now expensive, and I watched a number of videos including the one from Nana Bear's kitchen. I'll go ahead and add in my dried herbs. I'll add some black pepper, seasoning cube, a little salt and soy sauce. So from the number of recipes that I watched, especially the ones coming from Jamaica, I learned a lot, and I am making this the best way that I think I can. So I went ahead to mix this nicely. There are some people that say that you can actually marinate this for 2 days, okay? But then for time's sake, most people recommend overnight or a couple of hours, at least 4 hours. So for 4 hours, you can keep this in your fridge or do this overnight. Now let's get cooking. You need just a little oil because we are about to sear this oxtail. We just want to brown it a bit, and so you are doing this also under high heat. We are doing this under high heat, so once the pan is heated up or the oil is heated up, we will just line up our oxtail, making sure that they do not touch each other because we don't want them to release their juices. We want them to just brown, okay? If they are together or if you overload them, there's a likelihood of them releasing their juices, and we don't want this for this particular recipe. So after I placed it in the hot oil, I let it fry on one side for about 3 to 4 minutes, and then I turned the other side as well. Per the quantity I am using, I had to do this in 2 batches, so I'll go ahead and do the second one. When you watch it at this point and you don't know so much about oxtail, you may be a bit uncomfortable about the bottom of the pan and how it's looking, but don't worry, that is how the dish goes, okay? Now I'll go ahead and throw in my marinade. Okay, the one that I used for the beef, I am just extracting it from the liquid that accompanied it, and I'm just frying this. Now, I will state that this is also the first time I'm trying this recipe, and if I'm to do anything different, will be not to add a lot of pepper at this point, because as I fried it, I felt the effects. I was coughing a lot. So yes, if you are going to do this, I recommend that you don't start with the scotch bonnet pepper. Just add a little, okay, so that you don't do that. Now I have my homemade tomato sauce, and that is what I am using. You can use tomato paste. So after I fried, the veggies that I added to my meat, I am just adding the tomato sauce. Okay, as I said, you can use tomato paste, and then I will fry that very nice as well. You can see there's a bit of ice in it because I took it from my freezer, and then I am adding it directly. Now I was also boiling water on the side, so at this point I added the water, and this is going to get out all the stuff that was stuck under the pan, and they are all flavors, like beautiful flavors. You may think that the way it's looking in the bottom, it will be bitter, not at all. This was just so good. So the juices that also came from the meat, when I marinated it, I also added that. Now I'm adding in some oyster sauce. Reason being that most of the recipes I see, either they add some red wine or some chicken broth or some meat broth. I don't have any of those, so because I used water, I am using the oyster sauce to enhance it. Okay, so that is what I did, and it worked. It just went so well. So once everything enters, like I added the water and everything, I'll go ahead and bring back all the beef that I set aside from the beginning. Okay, so I had plenty oxtail. I used some for peanut butter soup even before I did this. So if I had chanced on this early, I would have left part of that anyway. So I'll cover this, and it's going to be under low heat for 3 good hours. Okay, and then I remembered one important part that I left that I saw in most of the recipes was some bay leaves. So I decided to throw in the bay leaves. Even though this is going to be on low heat for 3 hours, every now and then you have to come in and just move them around so that they don't stick in the pan. So this is almost like 2 hours down the line, and I am going to add in about 2.5 hours down the line, because when I was adding in the carrots, I was almost done. Okay, so I added in some carrots. Even though I have some bell peppers, I'm just going to hold on to that and let the carrots continue cooking with this, again under very low heat. Yeah, so I'll come and then open it. This is almost 3 hours, and you can feel it. You have to check because it has to be soft. Oxtail is hard, so at this point you should expect that you should be able to eat it effortlessly without breaking your teeth, without struggling. So at this point, you can also see the sauce around it. It had thickened nicely, and this has got to be one of the best dishes I have tried so far. I mean, the whole idea of this virtual trips is to learn about other people's food and also add to my own menu, and I can confidently say that this particular one is here to stay. Is one that I will be preparing often. It was so good, and I hope it inspires you to try it as well. It was a banger. It is usually served with rice and peas, but I am having it with rice, and also I made some ugali, some Kenyan dish, and I wanted a side to it, so I had this with the ugali. So ugali was what we had with this for the first time, and then we decided to have it with the rice as well. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. Let me know what you think in the comments. You should try this. You definitely should try this. I'll see you again in another video.